Yeah, you take the lead.
We are no,
I
that
just
was it. I just
okay,
well, so okay, so how
got it.
did the Sizzla even become your? How did that happen?
Okay, the Sizzla. So my last name is Szymanski,
Yes.
and kids in my neighborhood call me Sizzla sometimes, but I had a football practice when I was like 14, and my coach went, "Hey Sizzla," and I didn't think yeah, I didn't think it was gonna stick, and I went to school the next day, and some girl like at the end of the hallway was like, "What's up, Sizzla?" Right?
Oh,
There it goes, and then from there on, yeah, from there
I
on,
love it.
Sizzla. Yeah,
It's a
it's a good
good
name.
one.
Yeah,
I reference you sometimes like on my live because you're
yeah,
one of
get
my
out of here.
favorite TikTok. Well, you're one of my favorite TikTok friends, like you know that.
Likewise,
And that
likewise.
so
Yeah,
sometimes and like some of my followers now follow you, like and so like
yeah.
there's a overlap, especially because we've stitched each other, I think
Yeah, I've said
too.
you before. Yeah, yeah.
And so, so every time I do, I say my friend Pat Sizzla, and
This is funny. Yeah.
but I sound so white girl Wisconsin when
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say
of
it.
course, of
I'm like
course.
Sizzla.
Yeah, that's what she did. That guy, she was like, "What's up, Sizzla?" And I was like, "Oh man, here we go. That's gonna be my name forever." So,
I I think I told you I don't know because like so I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but the suburb
yeah,
that I grew up in was not like it was there was a large black population,
sure.
which Milwaukee's super segregated, so that was weird for the suburb.
Yeah,
If it was weird for Milwaukee, but
yeah,
it was but I was just used to it. Like since birth, right? So
yeah.
there's and we all kind of had our own cliques, but then we were all friends too. But in high school, me and my like four best friends that were all we all like shopped at the Gap and Abercrombie, and we talked and
Yeah.
like but all of our black girlfriends, it got to a point where they'd be like, "What's up, Sweet Valley?" They called us all Sweet Valley.
Well, like a Valley Girl or something like that.
Because the way we talk, because it was
Yeah.
like Sweet Valley High.
Yeah, but you don't really have the Wisconsin accent, right? The holy crap
I
thing
do.
going on.
I
You do?
do. I mean, like, I have
Yeah.
one enough that people, like, when I lived in New York for a little bit when I was in my 20s, people knew, they'd be like, you're not.
Yeah,
But
I would know you're not from. I would know you're from the Midwest for sure.
but it's not that
Yeah,
thick. I try to
yeah.
shake it. I think
No.
it's all the time I spend on the internet too, and like all of my friends now. I think, that's what's funny. My son is 9, and he does not have a Wisconsin accent, but I think it's
They're
because
all gone.
he interacts with YouTube more than he does with people here.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that makes sense too. I never thought of that actually. I never thought of that. But even
I
like
know.
where I am, like people my age and below, like the New York accent is kind of it's dying out. Unless you go out to Staten Island, right?
Yes,
Everyone's Italian out there,
I
right?
know.
But you don't really hear it no more. You don't hear. I'm
Yeah.
like the last of a dying breed with any kind of slight accent like that.
Well,
The
and it's like Boston with the Southie accent too. Like, but they're culturally significant enough that you don't want them to be
yeah.
gone.
No, you
Like,
don't want to be gone. Like I feel like we've had enough of Mark Wahlberg and Ben Affleck. You know.
mm. But
Yeah.
I know it's my son kind of has a New York accent. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He's just picked it up.
Maybe he's picked it up on the internet.
He did.
That whole thing on TikTok is like the thing now. The whole
I know.
Italian thing, and I do some videos like that.
It's
But
he gets a little sad about it because my grandparents so my great grandparents were the ones that came here from Sicily, but my grandparents still spoke Italian in their home with their parents because
oh,
so
okay, all
like
right,
we when I grew up it was still very Italian. My dad's 100% Sicilian,
sure,
and there was a lot of speaking in Italian, and like by the time it got my dad understood it and knew some of it, but
yeah,
for my generation we only knew like the swear words and the naughty body
yeah, yeah,
parts.
yeah. Of course, right,
Like you know how to
right.
say
The funny
yeah,
shit. Yeah, yeah,
tits and ass, and
yeah,
and ancora is like enough already. The things you get yelled at.
yeah,
My dad
yeah,
still.
yeah,
In fact, I heard
yeah.
my dad
It's
was
like
yelling at
an
yeah.
ashpet or something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard my dad yelling at my son. I was upstairs in the house last weekend when he was here, and I
Yeah.
heard him saying, "Ancora, we need to go already." I go, I don't think he really knows what that is, um, but my son is sad because he's like, I don't get to experience that much Italian stuff. And I was like, no, you'll never have like a
No,
Christmas Eve where it's
it's
all
true.
just Dago.
Yeah, yeah, like super. Yeah, the seven. My mother still does the seven fishes and stuff like
Does
that.
she?
But
Yeah.
yeah, but she like modernized it. It's not like traditional. She'll do like king crab legs.
Yeah.
As one of the fish, but she'll still have like the scungio and
Yeah.
the bacala and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, my uncle
Yeah.
she wanted all day. So yeah, I like it.
My
It's good.
When I was little, my great uncle was a priest, and he actually spent a lot of time at the Vatican. He died at the Vatican when I was little. But so
Oh shit.
he would have to leave family Christmas Eve to go do mass, and
Yeah.
he'd
Okay. Yeah.
always be shit faced on wine, and so
The
out of
communal
our
wine.
house, he'd get drunk at our family Christmas,
Yeah.
and then he'd go
Yeah.
do
Why
midnight.
not?
But one year I remember him leaving, and like we were like, Father Jim, you forgot your whatever the white thing is. Like I'm not even Catholic, so
Like
yeah.
the little the collar.
Yeah, he forgot
The
his
little, yeah,
collar.
the priest collar.
We
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
bring it to him, and he was like falling down the stairs, and my nana was like, he's all shined up. I don't know
Mass.
how he's gonna do mass. Yeah.
That's great.
I was
That's
like,
great.
you just don't get stories like that anymore,
No,
you
you
know?
don't. You don't. Like the world's different. You know. I don't know. But yeah, it was wacky. It was.
It was different. So my son
It was
gets
different.
he asks a lot about like what it was like being super Italian, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's just embarrassing, but it was.
It is.
And
It can be. It can be.
if I ever had like a blonde friend come over to visit for a family thing, they'd call him a Mediganu and be like make fun of them for having
Oh, jeez.
blonde hair and blue eyes. Like we were not white people. That was a
Yeah.
big
No. Well, Sicilians aren't white. I don't know if people don't know.
we.
I mean, there's a big history behind this with
I
like
know now I have
Hannibal and
to.
Carthage. If you take your ancestry, you're probably 10% sub-Saharan at
Yeah,
least. You
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Did you
Italians aren't whiteys.
when I was this is so crazy. When I was in my early 20s, when I would be at the bar and like people when guys would hit on me, that was such
Yeah.
a thing that would happen all the time. It would come up that I was Sicilian, and literally these racist ass fucking people in Wisconsin would
Yeah.
be like,
What are you black?
You're
What are
not
you,
even white. Your
you're not even
ancestors
white. Yeah.
and I'd walk away. Like that was
Yeah.
a is
You
that
know,
crazy?
it's like true in a way. I mean, I guess in like in America, you're white, right? You know? It's like I don't know, but yeah, there's plenty of history
Well,
that
but it's like no shit. Why do you think my ass and tits are so big? I'm not.
yeah.
So shut the fuck up.
It's what's in the food. It's the hormones.
I know. Yeah. Speaking of which, so this is how the first time my dog is being annoying. The first time that I ever really met you, you booked tarot with me, and I
I did.
remember you
Yeah,
were not the first guy that booked tarot with me, but you were the
I'm
first guy to
surprised.
you were the first guy to say, make sure your tits are out when we had the
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what. Well,
you
that's
said
it. You know, because like Tyler would come up on my page,
yeah,
like not on purpose. This was like when I have started to have my spiritual awakening,
I
and
know.
like I didn't really even know what Tyler what or like my sister was like into shit like that, and like I would like I'm like why is this all like pretty relevant coming on my page all of a sudden, and then I just seen a big pair of titties once a day, but it was but it wasn't even the titties were a plus, but the don't fucking text them, and I was like that's what I need to hear right now. Plus, we got a nice pair of titties on the page.
You
This is really I
you stitched that once with me, and it was
did
so funny. It
you
was
had a
so
con-
funny.
you were like if someone could I can't remember what the contest was, and they get like a free reading.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it
something.
was the name change. Yeah.
Yeah, the name changes. I was like ghost hits. I was like, oh,
No,
that's what it was.
that's
Ghost.
right.
Yeah.
My
And I was
username
like,
was Ghost Hits. I
ghost hits.
forgot
I
that.
don't know about no ghost hits. I could see him pretty good. So I don't think it's an aberration.
I know. That
Yeah.
was so funny. I remember that because
Okay.
that's when we like became friends. But the
Yeah, we
funny
were pals. Yeah.
one of my favorite things about you is that you are such a shit talker, especially your content on
Love talking
TikTok.
shit. Love
But you're
talking.
actually a really sweet boy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's but yeah, I'm like yeah, dual personalities. Well, that's my thing. I love talking shit. Half my videos get taken down. You probably haven't even seen them. Okay, like
Mm.
and I'm like, oh god, I gotta change this. I can't even be funny here. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I'm probably the nicest guy you've ever met in your whole life.
You had like a 20-part series on I'd fuck her.
God, fuck her, right. And that became a thing. My buddies used to laugh, like, they talk about a girl, see a girl
Yeah.
and explain why. And I'd be very quiet. And then at the end of it, I'd go, I'd fuck her,
Yeah.
And I was like, what, maybe, and that's about the time someone was like, dude, you got to put a camera on yourself, like,
Yeah.
and do, and I'd like try to come up with little skits and stuff, but those get taken down all the time too, for bullying and stuff like that. But I'm like, bullying, I just said I'd fuck her. She looks great,
I know people are not very thick skinned, a lot of them.
No, oh, no. It's tough. It's tough to make comedy vids. It
Yeah.
really is. So like at least the humor that maybe something like me and you would like, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really.
I
so
was
few and
well,
far between.
and I think people always, especially guys, are always shocked at like how tolerant I am of that kind of talk.
Of the humor, yeah.
But my dad and my brother and all the men in my family talk like that, so I'm just really used. I'm just used
Yeah,
to.
there you go. Yeah, you're not used to the PC. Like, again, this is something that's like kind of dying out, right? Like growing up in my household, you didn't love each other unless you were talking shit to each other, right? I mean, unless you were like kind of mean or like giving, it was beyond constructive criticism. It was like "fuck you," like you're being an asshole, but in a funny way, and then in like a loving, funny way. And that's how you knew that person really loved you. Same with my friends nowadays. Like if they're not breaking my balls, I don't think they like me, right?
I know some of my
something's wrong.
Some of my favorite family memories were like mean things my brother said. My brother's
there you go.
younger, so I wore a purple dress to something in high school, and I was not. I always was very curvy, but I was not like
you're curvy.
I wasn't
sexy
overweight,
curvy.
But in high school, I wasn't overweight. Like I was a lot smaller.
Did you get a Barney joke? Did you get a Barney?
Grimace.
Oh, Grimace, even better. Oh, your brother's a genius.
I wore a purple dress and it was Grimace, and it was just like, and he was like, "What up, Grimace?" Like for
what's up, Grimace? What's up, bitch?
And like one day I wore an oversized Gap red polo shirt somewhere, and he was just like, "Oh yeah," like the Kool-Aid man. Like I was gonna bust for a while. And then so when I was a senior, he was a freshman, and my brother's 6 feet tall. He's a tall guy. And he I don't know why he like there was something going on at school where there was like a fair day that I didn't go to, and you could make pins, like, you know, buttons, and he made one that for me, and in his shitty ass handwriting it said Biggie Smalls, and I go, "What the fuck is this?" And he goes, "You know, because you're big but you're small, because I'm only 5'2", and he's like,
"You're small,
your ass and your tits are so big but you're small." And I was like, so then someone found out about that. Keep in mind, he was a senior, or he was a freshman, I was a senior, and like all of a sudden everybody in school, so that was my nickname, was Biggie.
That's fucked up. I got the Sizzla and you got Biggie Smalls.
I got Biggie. I was Biggie.
Take the Sizzla.
Or they'd say Biggie Curros because my last name was Curro. So I was just like,
Curro.
Because my fucking brother was so mean. And then he once made up when we were in our 20s, and we were talking about people that we both had our own apartments for the first time. We were talking about people that do their like themed Christmas trees, because him and his buddies would have a party every year when he first moved out where everyone would bring a different beer, and you drink it, you put the cans on the tree. So like,
okay, that's cool. All right.
And then they were
but I like it.
My stepdad was like, "Oh, I saw one at Victoria's Secret that was all different underwear on the tree. You could have one and bring girls over and do the same thing." And then he was like, "Yeah, Ange, we'll use yours as the tree skirt."
That's so kind of, that is pretty mean though.
I know, but no,
relationships are different though.
You can't hurt my feelings.
Exactly. So it makes thick skin, right? I got enough where it's like it takes a lot to hurt my feelings, you know. But I do the trick though. I like to pretend that you hurt my feelings, right? I'll get all mopey. I'll get all mopey, and people are like, "Come on, man, like cheer up." But I'm like, I want them to think I'm so fucking upset. That's my way of getting back at you, right? And I'm like, whatever, bro, you know.
Oh my god,
you can't hurt me. You can't hurt my feelings. You really can't.
I just don't. I'm just so like, I'm not really like, I always say I don't have much emotional depth. In the last podcast recording, my best friend since childhood said that's not really true, but it is. Like, I just don't like wallow in it. I just kind of move.
Yeah, well, that's a skill, right?
I mean, some people I think it's astrology. Like, I have a lot of air. It's all just air.
Yeah, you're in your chart stuff. I don't know. I just know my sign. I don't know, like everyone. Oh, you might have this in your chart. I'm like, I don't know. This is a lot of reading and information.
I'm gonna look at it.
Now this is getting exciting. This is what I came for.
Yeah, just to have your full chart astrology.
I thought you were gonna come on and be like, "So I began. How was that?"
So what?
This is way more fun.
No, I wanted. I know you wanted to wait because you're going to do the ayahuasca thing, and you wanted to wait to come on after that. But I mean, you can come back. I want to hear about that too.
Absolutely,
I never end up actually talking about anything spiritual on here. It seems like.
Yeah. Okay, I know. No, it makes sense. I'm bringing it out of you.
No, I do. It's just in different way. Okay, where were you born? In New York, right?
I was born in New York. Yeah, Manhattan, New York. If that's
in Manhattan.
Yeah, I didn't live there, but that's where I was born, I guess.
It's where you're born. Yeah, that's what matters for astrology. And then what's your birthday?
12/22/1989.
It's coming up.
Yeah, I'll be 33.
I always forget you're such a baby. Like, literally though,
I don't feel like it.
Like everybody I'm close friends with right now, I feel like is like 33, 34. So it's like I'm
actually sense. My friends are older.
I identify as 10 years younger than I am. Okay, do you know what time you were born?
Yeah, 8:32.
In the morning or night?
at night.
You know, how do you know your birth time?
My mother tells me.
You have one of those moms.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Oh yeah, I have an overbearing Italian mom. Yes, that's for sure.
She reminds you. Okay, this is
Yeah.
okay. This makes so much
8:32. I
sense.
was in my vagina was killing me. Yeah, my pussy was out of control when you were talking.
Oh, Ray. Okay, so
Yeah,
you're a
right.
Capricorn sun, which we
Yeah.
knew, so that Capricorn makes sense. And then you are a Leo rising, which I totally see. Leos always kind of look like a lion. Do you already have a tattoo of a lion?
No, no,
Or do you
no,
have a
no,
picture of a lion somewhere in your house? Because I feel like Leos always.
no. But I do. So I always tell myself I have the tattoos of birds. I
Mm,
always used to tell myself in my first house I'm gonna get the lion statues
there you go.
outside, like very
Yeah.
guinea in front, you know?
Yes.
Like old Italian gate or gargoyles would be fine. But I like the lion stuff.
That's the Leo thing. So
Yeah.
Leo rising
Okay.
is like you probably seem more. That's why you seem like such a tough guy. Like the way even your jokes, because your rising is like how you show up. So that makes sense why you kind of look like an asshole. But then you're a you're not though. But you're a big switch because you're a Capricorn sun and then you're a Scorpio
Yeah.
moon.
Okay.
So that means you get really obsessed with, especially about emotions
Yeah.
and people.
Oh, geez, yes, absolutely. I'm an addict first, but I'm an addict with emotions as well.
Yes.
I get super addicted to my emotions and people.
Well,
Absolutely.
but a lot
Yeah.
the addiction stuff probably just comes because there's so many emotions in there that it's like
Yeah.
hard to deal with sometimes.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
Like I know
So do
people will be like substance abuse or alcoholism or whatever, like that's a disease, and I'm like, me personally, I'm like
I'm not really sold
that's
on
what
that
we
deal.
do to numb when we're just we don't know how to regulate our
Yeah.
emotions. That's
There's
not
always a reason. There's a reason why
it's
you're
the
doing it.
Band-Aid.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Yeah,
So
no,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, so
Moon and Scorpio
Scorpio.
it's rough. Scorpio is water, but it's like a swamp versus it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
moody and like murky and like has a lot about new beginnings and death and the occult. So like it makes sense. Like in your emotional core, you're a lot more spiritual than you show up. Being like Cap Sun, it's like you're sensible, but then you show up more stubborn and like pretentious than you actually are. But then you're really just like kind of this emo, moody guy in the inside.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Holy
And
smokes, I couldn't believe how accurate it is.
okay,
Where
the
are
other
you?
there you go.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Right there.
Yes. Do it. Okay. And then
Yeah, yeah.
the other thing that is noticeable about you, so your Mercury's in Capricorn, Mars is in Sagittarius, which I don't think that's that exciting, but your Venus is in Aquarius. And this is what's so exciting for me because so my moon is in Aquarius, which means I'm a weirdo is what it means.
Okay.
But
No, we're weird.
yeah, like I am. So, but all of my like closest soul ties have had Venus in Aquarius because when somebody's Venus is in your moon sign, especially when you have like a hard to understand personality, like they get you and just for out of nowhere. So that makes sense why you always like were like drawn to me or were like, oh, Ange, I get her stuff and I want to read it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
That actually totally makes sense. I was drawn to like even like I make the titty joke or whatever and the
Yeah.
don't fuck that. But even like I would say like an energy, right? Like you come up on my page and I would just be like super zoning. Like I'm actually gonna listen to what this lady's saying.
Yeah.
As opposed to like someone else. And I'm like, whatever, this is bullshit, right? And I'm
Yeah.
fucking and I'm for whatever reason, I was just like, I like this girl. I don't know what it is. I
Yeah.
like her. I feel like I know her, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Those things are strange. That shit happens to me all the time.
I
But
know it's good. It's like good to find your people. I think when you're on this path,
Yeah.
you do more like a what I call a soul's remembrance, where you meet like your soul tribe and you meet more people, and it's like
Yeah.
I kind of joke that like I don't because I made a lot of good friends. Like I talk to you about relationship stuff once a week.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
we text,
constantly. Yeah, we text each other, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
but like
Yeah.
the friends I made on TikTok, like you're one of them too. There's not a ton, but there's a handful of people that I'm like these are soul fam for sure.
100%. There's no way, like with the billions of users or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like for that to like come into like formation like that, it can't be a coincidence to me. And I agree. I think that's your
Yeah.
soul family.
I think
And
it's
meant to
funny.
meet.
Do you all these other people are talking about like finding all these dates and getting hit on TikTok, and I'm like, well, that does not.
That's
Not my life.
No,
I
no,
can
that's
find a
not-
best friend. Like I can.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
If I got married tomorrow, I've got about 10 of you that could be in my wedding party.
Oh, 100%. I'm flying out there tomorrow, right?
But a date? No.
No,
It's so weird. I think
is
everyone
weird.
like it's weird that other people have different experiences on the app, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I've had some cute girls friend me, and like I friend them back. I'm like, what's up?
So you have. So you
Well,
actually.
I mean, well, no, nothing's happened to
Oh,
it, but I'm like, but I'm like, shit, why not? You never know, right? Like you would never
yeah.
know. That could happen. Who knows? Maybe she lives like in the neighborhood or something. I don't know.
I don't only like.
I always shoot my shot. I always shoot my shot.
Well, you're a guy too. That's what you're supposed to do. Like,
Yeah, I'm supposed to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have like, so I have like what, 41,000 followers, and
Yeah.
10% of them are guys, and most of those guys I think are gay, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
rest are just looking at my tits. And so
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Yes, probably that's actually probably the reality of it. And then there's me, like right there, also looking at the
well,
tits.
you're both. No,
But I'm a straight guy, right?
I know.
And actually, listen.
You're my core demographic. No, it's funny. All the guys that I do have done tarot for, and I do this to you too. Like, I think the biggest advice I'm always giving you guys is like, stop being a fucking pussy.
No, you tell me to stop. I literally, and you told me to write it in my wallet.
What? I did?
Yeah, I still have it in my wallet. My wallet's in the other room. I can't. My dog will go crazy if I walk out there. But yeah, there's still a note in it that says "Don't be a pussy." And every time I open my wallet, I read it. I swear to God.
Did that help?
Yeah, it did. Hell yeah, it did.
Okay. Well,
Because I think I just needed, some people like, oh, it's okay, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't say, and my guy friends will say don't do, similar shit. But I don't know, coming from you, it's just like, yo, stop being a pussy. What the fuck are you doing? I was like, you know what? Like you told me the other day, you were like, you said, we were texting about something. You said, yo, life's too short. What are you doing? Like and I don't want to get into what it was about, but I was like, you know what? You're right. And then the next day I did what I had to do. I was like, yeah, it's too fucking short. Like, what am I doing? I'm listening to like too much Andrew Tate or some shit. You know? Yeah, it's like it is too fucking short. Like, who gives a shit? Like, let me just do what I got to do, what I feel like I should be doing, right?
So on Saturday, okay, like, because I obviously am the don't fucking text them person, right?
Yeah, that's which is fucking awesome.
But the whole point of that is to help people who are in this wounded place, who are gonna reach out to fill a hole in themselves that the person really not going to fill. And it's a lot of like, I think my bread and butter is anxious avoidant, like women who are like, and they really need to look at their own shit instead of driving the person they have a crush on nuts. Right. So whatever. So that's where that all kind of started. But I had to practice that so much. And like, I would say like when I take those attachment style quizzes now, like I'm secure attachment, I've healed those parts of me. I'm not, but I'm really stubborn. So like, you tell me once, if we're dating and you tell me once, like, I'm not uninterested, I'd be like, all right, have a nice life, goodbye. And then you're not going to hear from me. And that's why guys always come running back, because they're like, because I will just never reach out again. Because I don't know, it's my Mars and Leo too. I'm a little too proud, and maybe it's a Sicilian thing. And I'm just like, I don't fucking, I'll go find, like, guys are like buses. I'll just, another one's going to come.
No, it's much easier for girls. I mean, let's be honest. Like, girls are, I always found it that way. Like, you can, like, a girl can just say, all right, I'm on to, guys are fucking guys. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's much harder for a guy to like, like dump a girl and then just go right on to the next one. Unless you're one of these like elite looking, like, ton of money kind of guys. I mean, just from my experiences and my friends' experiences, who are like all decent looking, nice guys, it's not that easy to just go on to the next one. It's a little more complicated than that.
I don't know. I think women.
We're all coming from biases, though. We're coming from a bias, right?
I think women choose women choose who gets access to them, and then men choose the relationship. So
yeah, most of the time, I could agree with that.
But if a woman's giving you access to her, she usually wants a relationship, unless you're doing something to fuck that up. So it's like, I think that's where women have to remember that, like, a real easy way to not get overly invested in someone who doesn't want a relationship with you is don't give them all the access to you until they do. Like,
and that includes like sex, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, that includes that. Like, don't be spreading the legs everywhere. Oh, you're just gonna get your feelings hurt.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, that's the guy on the truth. Like, I've been the bad guy a lot of times, I
have been too.
On that, but I've tried to make it very clear, and I'm like the exception where I'm like, hey, listen, this is what this is. But like, it still becomes something else. So I've come to the point, I think I'm old enough where like, at this point, I'm like, I really don't, like, I want to have sex with a girl, but I'm like, I don't want to fucking hurt her feelings.
No,
and I don't have sex with her.
Yeah.
Right. It's just come to that point because I'm like, I've had sex, but it's just, at this point, it's like, it's sex, right? I've had plenty of sex. It's like it's not worth it to me, right? It's not worth going to that level, hurting, breaking someone's heart, dealing with the
I don't.
aftermath of it. I can't
I
deal with
think
it.
there's a lot more of these like city girls now, though. Like that's a
Yeah,
thing. Like
city
there are
girls.
girls.
Yeah.
There's a
Oh yeah.
girl.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Body counts are going up.
And I
Yeah.
like after my divorce, I definitely did a little bit of a hoe phase that was very short lived. But like
Yeah, but
I, so I,
that's a rebound phase, so that's like normal for
yes,
people. But the continuation of that is what's bad, right?
yeah, or it's a
Yeah,
choice. But I think it's indicative of a insecure. Like for me,
yeah.
I didn't realize like how much I hated myself while I was doing that. So I would argue any woman that's willing to just like sleep with someone they don't care about, and I know I get shit for this if anyone's but
Yeah,
like it's their own woundedness. It
I
really is.
got your
I've
back.
been there, and
It's
then
100%.
people don't know, and guys even sometimes too when you're doing that because you really just fucking hate yourself. It's not like you're
No,
just
I totally agree, and I think that I don't think there's a difference. So like when I'm doing that stuff, it's because I'm hurting. It really
yes,
is, and like I actually I just want like someone close to me, or even if it's just for a night, or I want to like put. I wouldn't say like a notch in the belt, but it's like all right, like I'm still the man. Like I can still
yeah,
live, but it's from a place of insecurity. It's from a bad place, right? So like the more mature I get, and the I guess the more I'm healing, the less I've been
yeah,
doing that, right? Because I just don't give
same.
a fuck. I really just care about myself, right? I'm like I got to do what's good for me, and like this is not good for me or the other person, and it's just
No.
enough's enough, right?
I know.
So
It's really it just gets kind of wild about that. Like it's as a parent too. So my son is 9. Like I learned a lot by doing therapy. I learned a lot about like a sex addiction because I guess a lot more of us have sex addictions than we realize.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like when I had to look at that stuff, it was like I remember talking to my ex-husband about it too because we're like very close friends, and I said I don't, I want to make sure he has a healthy relationship with sex, so it's constantly reminding we shield him from sexual content and TV and
You're
movies because
perfect.
even having access to that stuff, it's sex addiction it starts from having um access to sexual information as a young child, not just
Yeah,
sex too early, but
that shit is not normal to
it's
have that
everywhere.
information.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
now when he sees something somewhere, we have a talk and I say, and I always tell him, so, and I find like the old version of me laughing at myself while I'm saying it's Pat because I'm like, the TV and movies make sex look like everybody's having it and they're doing it with lots of people and it's really
That's
normal.
right. It's the
That's
norm.
actually really not normal and it is unhealthy because it should
Not
be
at all.
between two people that love each other. And like
Yes.
while I'm saying it, I'm hearing my old me throw up in my mouth, but it's the truth because I want him
No.
to I want him to have healthy relationships and that is part of it. And so it was funny because I was talking to my I don't remember what he saw. There was something I was all worried, like crazy mom. Like it was like 6 months ago. I was on the phone with my ex, like, oh, I don't want him to be a fucking sex addict. And he was like, what? I think like, sending a video of yourself jerking off to a young lady is a nice way to start a relationship. I was like, don't like, and then I think back, like, we did that,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
kid,
Yeah.
but our kids not fucking doing that.
Well, not now. I hope at least.
No, but I mean, even older, like I just want him to have
Yeah.
healthy relationships and not have
Yeah.
to
That's yeah.
be
That's
a
not a healthy way to
fucking
start things.
deviant.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the world is a little more. I mean, you know what? Maybe it always was this deviant, just
It
like with like
was.
just like with technology now,
Go
and
ahead.
would you a puppy? My
Oh,
puppy good, which is crazy. But
she's not.
eh, but
Every
what
time,
was
every
I?
time I'm recording a podcast specifically, she needs to
She
be a part of it.
knows. Yeah,
She
she
has to
knows
be
there's
on it.
something. She knows there's something going on. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Wait,
Um,
what were you saying though? Did you
I would
forget?
say, I don't. Oh, I think the world. I think it's maybe it's always been that deviant, right? But I just think with like technology now, with like your phone and
Mhm.
videos, the internet, like you're just kind of seeing it more. Just like people think, oh, the world's like way more fucked up now, and I'm like, nah, I think it was always kind of fucked up. You just see it on the news and you see the videos of this and that, and it's you know
Yeah.
maybe it always was
I-
kind of fucked up. You just get to see it a little more and share the information, talk to people about it.
So not to be a weirdo, but there's
Oh,
someone who journeys past lives as a living because that's part of that's
yeah.
what I do in shamanic healings. I've seen so many past lives. It's always been fucked up. And actually people were
Of
worse
course.
because like it was
Way
less
worse.
illegal to like murder and rape in most times.
Yeah, I mean
So
the
like
Greece openly like rapes little boys, right? And then they
yeah, and
wrote about
yeah.
it. It was totally fine. Like no one got arrested. It was like part of the culture.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
Some of
it's like
the
I
some
know
of the
that.
worst lives I saw were like Viking lives were like,
Oh, they were like the raping and pillaging and
and I don't know anything about history, so that's what's so
yeah.
dope
I mean,
about it. Because
pretty
I'll
good.
come back with a story, and I'm Linklater. I couldn't tell you much, and
Like
then
where you got it from.
like because
Yeah.
it's literally it's. I mean, I journey, and so I see it all. I see the time, and I tell the story. But that's how I know the shit's real because I don't know. I'm not a. I don't
You don't know where it's coming from. Yeah, you're not reading books or checking
no.
up on the history.
So then when I
Like,
tell this story, like, and then like randomly this all happened. So like I had a client who had this Viking life and it was all fucked up. And then randomly, what did I watch? I wanted to watch that. There was a movie, was it The Norseman? It was about Vikings.
yeah, that was pretty good. I liked it.
It was dead ass the same kind of energy as the life.
That you were
The scene in the
feeling.
beginning where they were putting all the children in that one building and like killing them and stuff like,
Yeah.
and that was because I had to help her heal this like wound around murdering all these children and like thinking she was an unfit mom because of it because of all these lifetimes ago like and so
Yeah.
but I didn't know that they actually did that. It's just a story when I'm journeying, you know what I mean?
Holy moly. That is pretty cool. I mean, again, I don't think
Yeah.
it's a coincidence. I
No,
no, absolutely not. Yeah.
the shit that happens that it gets verified like that so often, Pat, like seriously, you couldn't make it up. If you saw like the stories that came out of journeying and told people about their past lives, first of all, the people for people it always resonates, and I know to pick out the weirdest fucking details because it always means something to them that's innocuous to me. And then like months later, I'll be watching some documentary on Netflix and I'll see like
Yeah,
the
you're
whole
gonna go,
story
oh,
of it, and I'm like, oh,
that's what I'm channeling, whatever. Can I can I ask you,
yeah.
so when you went to Peru,
No,
right?
I haven't been
Yeah,
yet.
you haven't been to Peru.
My teacher goes to Peru every year, and then her teacher
Okay.
comes here to teach once a year. And I've spent 2 weekends in retreat with him here in Wisconsin, though.
Okay. So what I was gonna ask was, did you feel like you had that gift before you did the shamanic journey and became a healer, or
Yeah.
do you feel like you gained that gift, well, or maybe you did it and then learned upon that gift, right?
So
Like that.
if you at any point walk the shamanic path, you
Oh, I'm going.
realize, you realize that time is not real; it's an illusion. And so, what the
Yeah, I
tricky
already
part
realized
about
that.
what that means is that all of the things you learn, you're really just remembering because you already knew because time isn't real. Everything's
Yeah,
happening all at once. So, like the first time you go to journey,
totally makes sense. Sometimes I think my future self is telling me things
and you are,
like now.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, if my future self is talking to me right now, it's not like a thought. It's like this guy from wherever is telling
So
me.
this is real
I get
trippy.
that feeling.
No, it is. If you want to test that out, I like to do that through music. Okay, and you're a Scorpio moon,
Mm,
so that okay.
I
So
make music.
here's what I do. If you have a song that evokes a memory of a space and time of like
Oh,
so if you
hundreds of them.
so like name a song that makes you think of something, an event in your life in
All
the
right,
past.
like right now in particular,
Yeah, what comes up when I say that?
dude. Uh, uh wow. Honestly, there's so many.
That's
Let me
okay.
just what particular time? You know what? If you gave me a time, I could tell you a song.
I don't know,
How
high
about like
school.
oh, there you go, high school. Huh? Okay, so like T-Pain, buy you a
All
drink.
right. Okay. Okay.
That would bring
So
me to a specific day
yes, yes. Okay. So let's
and
stick
like
with
a
that.
place. Yeah,
So
yeah,
here's what I want you to do, so, like when we're done with this or whenever. So
yeah,
play the song T-Pain Buy Your Drink.
yeah.
Bring up the feeling of what that felt like when you were in high school that day. And then think about what you need to tell that teenage version of you so that you can find a little more peace on that day. What did teenage version of you need to hear that day? Like,
Whoa.
so whatever's happening, whatever you need to go back and like basically reparenting, telling that version of you something. And you're just talking and you're saying it to them and you're imagining what you would hear back. And even if you have to, like the first time I did, I think I had to be like, I know this is scary, but like this is, you don't even have to say who you are. You can just say it. And then when you do that, you will be gifted something you need to know by you from the future in that time too. And for me,
Whoa,
it
you're
like it,
blowing my
I
fucking
know.
mind right now.
And do
Because if
it.
that's true, what I said, the future self is talking to your past self. And if
Uh-huh.
I just did that, I would actually be talking to that guy.
Yeah, you
I would be
would.
talking to 6-year-old
Uh-huh.
Pat if
Yeah.
I did that after
And
that. All right,
so
you fucking
and do it sober too because it's more real. It really did because like
so tomorrow.
that's what that's what time travel really is.
Yeah.
And I've healed a lot of stuff that way. So in my roughest times, if I'm ever in the car now and a song comes on that makes me really emotional, I just pull over and I think about, all right, what am I reliving? And then I go tell myself something. And then I'm usually completely at peace because future me comes and tells me what I need to deal with in this moment that's driving me nuts.
Whoa, I'm not even like
Sorry, as
you're
I'm
really
burping.
like you're
I know.
resonating with me so much right now that makes so much fucking sense.
I love that I just burped during my podcast, but I burped
No,
all the
did
fucking time.
you? Is that what
Yeah.
that was?
I was
Oh,
like,
I thought it
oh.
was the dog. You can always blame it on the dog.
It was all-
You said, okay, what are you doing? What noises are you making back there? Right?
I'm always fucking burping. No, so that's really, yeah, like, I'm talking about some serious shit and then I'm
It's just
belching. That's who I am. So, okay, so yeah, so do that. And then it's crazy because all of a sudden, once I did that, I thought about all these times in my past where I was so scared or nervous about something. And then I just knew in my soul that something was going to be okay. And I'm like, oh, that's because it was me coming back and
Holy smokes.
telling
100%. That has to be what it is.
me.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy now that you're talking about this? I just made a song with my part. I always say I say my partner. He's my
Yeah, I like
it
it.
sounds the wrong way. It's like, you know, me my partner just made
Can
a
I
new song,
watch
right?
you? Can I watch you guys? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll watch you guys.
Okay.
So we just made a song called. So we thought of this concept a couple weeks ago, like how
Mhm.
this might be a thing.
Yeah.
We just made a song called. It's in the works right now. It's all recorded. It's just got to be mixed up. It's called 1331. And the
Yeah.
concept is your 31-year-old self talking to your 13-year-old
Oh my
self, right?
God.
Yeah. And so and it should be out in a couple weeks. I'll send it to you. So that's
Yeah.
kind of wild. And it's funny whenever me and him kind of have like a thing
Yeah.
going on. So we'll get a beat and
Telepathy.
like a telepathy thing. We'll write separately. Like the song I sent you, 1111. We did not plan to write that about Tara or spiritualism.
Yeah. Yeah.
We wrote the verses separately. We came in the next day, met up, and we both had Tara verses. I
Yeah.
didn't even know he knew Tara at all
Yeah.
or anything
Yeah.
like. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. So the same thing happened with this. We wrote separately, and our concepts were both us talking to our younger self and telling us how it's going now, what to do, what
Yeah.
not to do, how it's going to be okay. And it just we get the goosebumps when we share it, you know, because it's like, all right, this can't be, but you know, we shared nothing conceptually before, and then
Yeah.
it becomes the same thing. So
And then
we got a thing
and
going.
now to find out that shit's real too, but it is.
Yeah, the way you just explained it to me is like what's in my head. I just couldn't articulate what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah, I don't know if everyone can time travel with music like that, but I can't. And like I told my stepson
I
is
definitely
20.
can.
I know my stepson is 20 and he makes music, and I told him that once too, and he said the same thing. He's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "I know, it's really
Yeah.
fucking cool."
It's definitely a real thing. I saw like a little video the other day, and it's like there's only a certain percentage of people who get goosebumps while listening to a
Oh,
song.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like 9% of people can feel it. So I'm sure you've
I
had
do.
it.
Yeah,
To
yeah, yeah,
talk to other people and like, no, I never gotten goosebumps. Listen, most people you ask will say no. And
yeah,
it has something to do with what we're talking about, right? You're like a certain
yeah.
empathic kind of person, and you can like
Well,
feel the emotions and stuff of
yeah. The other thing I would say too is that through shamanism they taught, humans we evolve in life through ceremony, right? Okay, so in
okay.
our culture it's like, first communion, maybe
Yeah.
high school graduation or bar mitzvah, or
Yes. A
call
quinceañera.
quinceanera. And so we do ceremony to move from one life cycle to the next. In the Peruvian
Sure.
tradition, they call them pachas. We have one life, which is like a big circle, and then we have all these life cycles within it. And so you think of all those, ceremony kind of transitions us from one life cycle to another, and we use music during all those ceremonies. That's a
Yeah,
part of
that's
it, and
for
that's
sure.
why when you go to church, there's music, and it's
Prayer, right? Yeah, even like Catholic church, like the prayer, the hymns, like all that is,
yeah.
yeah,
And
right.
and
That's
wh- and when you go to do ayahuasca in Peru, they
yeah,
sing icaros, which are music that help you with that
yes, I've
ceremony.
heard
It's
this.
sacred
Yeah,
ceremony. So
yeah,
it's part of how humans were built to tap into it,
that's awesome. It's fucking awesome.
It is great. And that's why I
That's so
think
good.
people that are more connected like love music. Everyone makes fun of me. I don't know if you know this, but my favorite musician is Dave Matthews. So like, and I just
Oh,
fucking love his music.
hell
But
yeah! Crash Into Me was the other song I was gonna say.
was it? Oh, that's
Thinking
of
about
course
yeah,
you were. I would have died.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he
yeah. I was like, I don't want to
he
go there, so I'm gonna do something else.
a lot of his songs they're spiritual. They're all spiritual, or they're about
Yeah,
God. But when you listen to him,
hidden Christian rock. Yeah,
yeah.
like free. You wouldn't know until you're like, oh, are they talking about fucking Jesus?
Well, but when he's interviewed and he's been asked a million times, and he's
Yeah,
atheist, or He's agnostic, I guess.
Agnostic.
And
Okay. He's
my
open to the
best,
idea.
my favorite interview though, I heard him with him because he was like, somebody was like, "You're Dave, you're always using God," and then one of the other guys in his band, and no, Dave said, "I'm just always using God because it fits well in the songs," and then one of his buddies in the band was like, "Or is he using you?" Because it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it
Or is
is.
God, yeah. You know what? Maybe. I like that.
Because why else would you be drawn to put that shit in there and it's real spiritual shit? He's just
Especially if you're
channeling
saying, yeah, you're channeling. You're 100% channel. I
because
feel that way when I write, when
yes,
I'm writing on my own, right? Like, and like people, they're like, how long does it take you to like write like a 16? I rap, so like, how long does it take you to write one verse? And I'll tell them, but like 7 to 10 minutes, and they're like,
yeah,
really that? And I go, yeah, because I could like right now, if I was to, I have to actually get into like a state,
yes, the
right? And then
flow.
once my brain and I like the beat hits me a certain way, and it is like a legit spiritual state, right?
Yeah,
And I'll finish and I'll read back up and I'll go, what the fuck did I write down? I don't even remember really like writing that part right there. And I'm
yeah.
like, that is 100% channeling through. That is not
That's
me doing
and
this.
when I journey, that's what this is meant to do. It's meant to get you into that. It gets you in the shamanic. It gets your
Yeah,
brain into a theta brainwave state of that place where you can channel and be open to receiving messages from spirit. Like, and so
that's cool.
that's what it is. And what shamanism explains too is all this information is out there in the ether, right? So like
Yeah,
the shaman in the Peru, in the Caro people in the Andes Mountains in Peru, these shaman never left the mountains, but would come down to town every once, and they would know what happened in the rest of the world. They would
that's
sometimes know
wild.
before it happened. They would know things about science and math and
Sure.
language because it's all out there in the ether for you to connect with. And
Yeah, what do
so
they call that? What do they call that? Like the third eye thing, and it's
yeah,
all in a like the Hindus call it something too.
I know
There's like a
every
word I'm
people
looking for.
calls it
Yeah,
something different.
they have it something. Yeah, it's just like what it's like the communal universal
Yeah,
information. It's all available
yes.
to you. So that if you can meditate appropriately or like get into these states, you can pull from that, right?
Yes.
You can
So
pull from
that's
that.
that's why um I think I can't, and again, I'm not a history person, but I know there's been instances of songs being written that become really big that someone else
Oh
wrote
yeah.
the same song and like
Oh,
unknowingly, and then they find
great.
it's
100%. Great minds think alike.
yeah, it's
Or,
out.
but I think that's being pulled from the same
It
place,
is.
right? Yeah,
So
yeah,
some of the really successful artists like the Beatles or Elvis, or they're pulling
yeah,
from,
yeah, yeah.
and then and that's why we all resonate with it too, because it's out there and we know it. And then the other
Yeah.
part of that is too, and anytime there's been any big inventions or breakthroughs in technology, it's because everyone's able to access that information who's in touch with it at the same time.
It's
You
true,
know?
and people are doing it at the same time. You can look at Thomas
Uh-huh.
Edison, Nikola
Yes.
Tesla, right? And you can say like they're creating the same thing just in a different way, right? But this is
Yes.
happening literally at the same time. There are three,
Yeah.
four, five people with the same invention, right? And I think that's it. I used to be like, oh, it's fucking aliens, right?
Right.
Actually, I don't know if you guys could see. I got a nice gray alien that I
You
got checked.
do. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, that's you right there too, Angie. You're getting abducted right there on the
Mm,
wrist. But
not me, man. No.
but like that was my that was like my initial like because I used to think that way, and I used to say
Yeah.
somehow these people would have had to been given the information at the same time or whatnot. But now I'm kind of leaning toward what you're talking about. Is I think this
Yeah.
knowledge is just there, and when humans are ready for it, or when people are ready for it at that particular time, the same people are pulling the same
Exactly.
information at that time.
That's what
Yeah,
shaman believe. And they believe that like basically we all come to earth with these imprints or hooks that plague us from our past lives trauma, and then we
yeah,
choose a family to be born of that probably has similar trauma. So we have ancestral hooks and karmic hooks, okay,
yeah.
that plague us, and we come to and we say, all right, Sizzla, we're both going to earth,
Yes.
you're gonna be, and let's say if you pick a romantic relationship, like you're gonna be a shitty boyfriend that beats me, and I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
whiny
And you're like,
victim, and
deal.
you're gonna
Yeah.
remind me to know my value and love myself enough to walk away from people
Sure.
and boundaries, and then you're gonna I'm gonna help remind you to experience like forgiveness and peace and like whatever. So we make these agreements and then we show up, but we do it in a way, and I think astrology, going back to reading your chart, is what
Sure.
gives us the personality that we need to accomplish our missions.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I think that's why so many miscarriages and stuff happen, because baby spirits are going to come in and then something changes quick and they're like, oh,
Something, yeah, it's not ready. It's not supposed to
abort
be. Kind of
mission,
thing. Yeah,
you
abort,
know,
yeah, abort.
literally. And then
Yeah, literally, abort.
So, but the whole point of this all is that we each fulfill our soul's destiny and heal enough to evolve as a soul, and that as a whole creates human evolution. And so,
Yeah.
as we evolve as a species, then that certain information gets kind of unlocked.
Yeah, and that's what happens at the same time, right? Because it's like you evolved enough as a
Yeah.
species, and it's like, all right, these motherfuckers are ready for this, right? Let's
Because
you
think
know.
about like back in the Roman days or whatever, like if they had nuclear weapons, like we'd all be dead, right?
No,
They
they would have used
they
them.
couldn't handle it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. We still might fucking use them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
when
needed like in this time the countries are more able to come together and agree to not
sure,
blow each
and
other
say
up.
and be smart enough to say, hey, listen, it's probably not a good idea to like use these things. But back then, yeah, Alexander the Great would have been like, fuck that, fuck,
Yeah.
we're dropping one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. They weren't ready to have that.
So it's interesting. So I know going back to your original question, but yeah, I don't think time's real. So the first time I journeyed, well, tarot is a good example. Okay, so I'm Sicilian. I'm what I always called superstitious, right? You know,
Yeah,
I
you're a
wore
witch.
I'm not a witch.
You're
I
a fucking
wore
witch.
I
I'm
wore
kidding. I'm kidding.
I wore my like you forever, my Gornu necklace, you know, like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's a thing. And you're, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole premise of that for any non-Italians listening is that the way my dad always said it is the molecules you you have nice things in a nice life, and so other people are going to want to wish evil upon you, and that's to ward
Yeah,
it off, you know.
that's
So
correct. My sister's Greek. She wears the evil eye.
yeah,
She has it all
yeah,
over her house. It's the same thing. It's just a talisman to,
yes,
you know.
talisman. So
Yeah.
I always been superstitious, and I always thought I was a little OCD, but I'm not. I always was looking for symbols to tell me what was going to happen. So I'd be like, all right, that boy that likes me, if this speed light turns green before I get there, then he's gonna call me today, and then he would, and I'd be like,
it'll
yeah,
it'll fucking happen, and then it'll happen.
uh-huh,
So like that didn't start happening to me till 2 years ago, and
okay,
it wasn't. I didn't look for it. It wasn't on purpose, right? Like it just like I
yeah,
started seeing repeating numbers, and I'm like, why the fuck did I see 333 400 times today? And like I didn't even know what this stuff was, and then I had to do my own personal, be
yeah.
like, something's happening on my brain and around me, and this feels fucking weird. And then this is like I discovered this shit, and I was like, this
Yeah,
got to be real because
I didn't see
it overwhelmed me. It overwhelmed me.
for me, like I didn't have that kind of awakening yet, but just my whole life
Yeah.
when I was little, I was always like assigning meaning to symbols around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I kind of did that too. I guess I'm just
yeah, so
saying it.
in
Yeah.
quarantine when I was bored as fuck and I was hanging out with these girls in their 20s that watched tarot on YouTube, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. That's
I
what I
bought
was like. What the fuck is this shit?
we used to this is during quarantine. I was so bored. There was one yoga studio open in town. I just moved to Green Bay, literally the first week of shutdown. So I had no friends up here. All my friends are
Yeah.
2 hours away in Milwaukee. I just gotten divorced. And I was like, all I want to do is do yoga. So I found a yoga studio, and it's these girls in their 20s and they just smoke weed every day. So I was like, fuck it. So
You see the fucking King of Pentacles? It's fucking nuts.
yeah, I had not
It's fucking crazy.
I had not smoked weed since college, but here I am. I'm like, fuck it. There's nothing else to do. So
Yeah.
I became a stoner again, and I just did yoga and smoked weed with
And
these girls all the
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
So when they were high, there was one night, it was the first night I really smoked with the one girl that owned the yoga studio. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever been a big stoner, but the thing
No,
is,
never have actually.
when you don't
I
normally
like the other drugs. I like harder drugs.
yeah, when you don't
Yeah.
when you don't smoke a lot, when your tolerance is low, the first time you do you get so
Oh yeah,
fucking
you're gonna get
ripped
fucked up.
that
Yeah,
you
you're gonna
feel
get
like you're losing your mind. And I
yeah, the
remember
paranoia.
sitting across from her at my table upstairs, looking at her, going, she was okay. So what she was talking about is this tarot reader on YouTube called The Quietest Revolution. Her name's Amber Khan, and she is my favorite. She's my favorite. But
Okay.
she's a huge following on YouTube, always has. She does this thing, she does monthly readings and she goes through all the zodiacs. And when she does them, she channels the energy of that sign. So when she does the
Of the sign,
Capricorn
yeah, yeah. Like Madam
channels
Adam does shit like
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. I
channels
see what's
Capricorn
going on.
energy. So she's acting like a fucking Capricorn. She dresses like it. She talks like one.
Oh,
And
that's
it's pretty
funny.
cool.
Yeah,
So
that's cool. That's cool. That's
he's
fun.
telling me this. Keep in mind, I have no idea what tarot is. I don't really
Yeah.
understand what channeling it is. I'm high. I'm zooted out of my fucking mind, and her face is moving all weird, and I'm trying to figure out if what she's saying is so fucking weird, or if
Yeah.
I'm just that high, and it's making no sense. And I was like, I finally said, all right, like, you got to get the fuck out of my house. I don't know if you're fucking super high or I am, but like, I can't even, you're This is tripping me out. You gotta go. And she's like, oh
It
yeah.
was both.
She's like, I mean, we smoked a blunt, so that's fair. Okay. And then she left.
Yeah.
And I took a Snapchat video of myself, like, to watch the next morning. Like, I don't know if I'm fucking losing my mind or if I'm so
For
high.
yourself the next time. I don't think I've ever done that. It freaked me out a little bit.
So the next morning, I go to look at it, and my hair is all, I think probably still have it. No, I deleted that Snapchat, but I was zooted. Anyway, but I don't know, it planted something about the tarot. So then I was trying to figure out if I was insane, and I go watch the tarot reading, and the one for Libra, because I have so much Libra in my chart. It was so dead ass. It was just like so spot on. I was like, Ari, like I watched that fucking chick. That was like life changing. And she's like, yeah. So then we'd all get high and we do yoga and watch tarot together on YouTube. So I ordered I think right around the same time. Yes, but right around the same time my Nana like showed up, like came to me, and it wasn't like I didn't see her, but like the light, I was in a therapy session right over there in the corner on Zoom, and I was talking to my therapist, and I was having a really rough time about something, and I was this was like my spiritual awakening, kind of one of them, but I the sun shifted and went right in my eyes, and I started bawling immediately, and I said to my therapist, like,
that's happened to me.
And I go, that's so weird.
Well, only twice in my life I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I said, that's so weird. I feel like that was my Nana, and I go, never mind. And my therapist, she couldn't say she's spiritual, but she's spiritual, and she's like, hold on, let's go back to that. I was crying about body image stuff because I was just started dating after my divorce and stuff, and I was worried that like guys weren't gonna like me because they're gonna think I was fat or something. When I knew that was like so I'm talking about it, and the sun shines, and I said, I start crying. I go, I know it, because my Nana was a fucking, I swear, like her, she was Sicilian. She was just like, and so but she taught us self-confidence, like a lot of it. And she goes, well, what would she have said? I go, what she would have said. And what the message I got when the sun shone in my eyes is, if they don't love who you are, they can go fuck themselves, because you're the best looking broad out there. Like, that's what she told me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I felt better. And she goes, well, then go with that. Then wouldn't you rather believe that that's real and that can help you heal? And I was like, yeah. So that's when I realized, now I know anytime the sun comes out of nowhere and blinds me, I'm like, what do you need now?
That's it. Yeah, what's up?
And then I know what she needs, and then she tells me, and then I'm like, yeah. So like
that's amazing.
That happened, and then I ordered tarot cards. No, then I ordered a book on, because I was like, well, I feel like I want to learn about like how Sicilians did spirituality. So I got an Italian folklore book, and some of that resonated. And then I was like, well, tarot cards are kind of Italian, so I got a deck.
No, they are. They're Mediterranean. So, so the Hierophant, you know what the Hierophant is?
Yeah.
Hierophant is a Greek or Italian oracle.
Yeah.
It was Hierophant is a Roman oracle.
I love that.
Yeah. So they do come from that. Like they were gypsies who making these cards, right?
Yes.
They're Greek, Italian, French gypsies, and the Hierophant. That's what it was. It was a Greek or an Italian oracle.
Yeah. So that's why I went with that, because at the time, I was really worried about like the cultural appropriation. Now I'm not, because I realize it doesn't belong to anyone. But at the time I was worried.
No culture belongs to. Yeah.
But because now I get that like there's no gatekeeping. It belongs to all people, and all these messages.
Correct.
Relationships with spirit and shamanism. All ancient people did the same shit.
That's correct.
So
that's correct. The Egyptians did.
Yeah.
That's iron stuff
so
like that.
The first time I got a deck, I had a book on what each card meant, and I mentioned I was going to page through it, but I pulled the card and I just knew something. And I was like, so it was like, and I go, this is what I've been doing my whole fucking life. I've been reading cues and looking at things to know what's going to happen.
Without the cards.
Yeah.
Right. The cards are just a message or a confirmation, if you ask.
Yes. And I
pull a card a morning.
Yeah.
And it's always exactly correct of what.
Exactly. And I was a director of credit collections and fraud.
Yeah, you had like a boring job, right? I remember that. I remember when you quit.
Yes, but I oversaw corporate credit collections, and fraud and risk assessment. So all I was ever doing my whole career was reading people. We would sell to construction guys and companies, and I'd have to assess how much risk and figure out what they're doing and talk them off a ledge and get them to pay their bills when they needed to. And all I was ever doing was reading people. And I became a leader because I taught other people how to read people.
How to read people, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So I was I was so like, this is all I've ever been doing. And then the first time I went for training in shamanic healing, the first time we had a journey, I've been spacing out my whole life. I got yelled at in school. They said I was ADHD for just like going to La La Land and daydreaming. I've been journeying my whole life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't need to even rattle or listen to shit to get in. I can get into a theta brain state. Like when you're driving your car and you accidentally like miss your turn on the freeway or whatever, and you're in that place, the same place you go to when you do music. I just live there. So
Yeah, yeah.
I can do that so easy.
Too much almost. Yeah.
So, I mean, like that shit, I'm like, but, or you could argue that time isn't real and I learned how to do this and that's why I knew before. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Sure. I do know what you mean. And we really don't know the answers, like the exact answers, right? I think we have a feeling of like, the concepts of a lot of these things.
It's pretty cool. And
it is cool.
What's even cooler
I
is
live
that
through this shit. I live through this shit now. This is like my interest,
I know. I feel like
this is what I do now.
I need like a spiritual reality show because people would not believe.
That'd be fun. That'd be fucking fun.
I know, but it's people's private shit. So it's
private shit. Yeah.
There's that Netflix show about that one medium that goes all, and he gets paid so much money, but it's like, I know a million people that know how to do that.
Oh, there's this is like the Long Island medium type of shows and stuff, but
there was one in LA and like he can talk to dead people. I'm like, that's like,
is that the driver? He like drives an Uber and you're talking about the same one? I see him on like scrolling through, so I don't know if that was like a Netflix show or something.
It's all stuff. I mean, the shit's real. So then what was happening is that
definitely real.
I started doing tarot for friends and family, and I realized that I've been channeling people's ancestors. And like, so a lot of my friends became my friends because I was their boss at work. And I was kind of known for being a leader who gave the right advice at the right moment. I was always saying, and so when I did a tarot reading for one of my former employees, and she's like, that's so funny. My grandfather always said that. And I go, you know what? When you work for me, weren't there like 5 different times where I gave you some tough love and you said, my grandfather used to say that? And she goes, yeah.
Like a phrase or something like that? Yeah.
And I go, I've been channeling him this whole fucking time. I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know.
Yeah, you just don't know you're doing it.
Because I'm constantly saying shit that is, and now I know when I say something, and if you've ever watched my lives, I'll say something and I'll go, I've never said that before in my life. That's channeled. That's not me.
Yeah. You know? I don't watch your live. I'll sneak in for like 10 seconds, make a joke and hop out.
I know.
Because I'm like, she's doing her thing. I can't let her. I was like, I can text her and ask her a question.
You do. You usually do. When you see me on live, you're like, by the way, I know you're on live, but.
Yeah, I know you're on live, but because it comes up on my feed, I'll sneak in. I'll watch for a little bit privately,
I have to tell you,
see how you operate it.
I had this big epiphany. Oh yeah, I was telling a story and I completely blanked on it. So this weekend, no, that's okay. I mean, I went through a big dark night of the soul in October and half of November, right? So we're like, I was just home. I was sick. I was reflecting.
You were sick.
Yeah, but this all started because my retreat. Remember, I went to my retreat with Jose Luis with my teacher in the end of September, last week in September.
Yeah. Okay.
And we talked about sourcing from your visions of the future. So as a shaman, every day we get centered and we look and see what possible timelines are available to us, and we decide consciously which one to jump into. And then we did a lot of work where we all did readings for each other, and blind readings where people you don't know are sharing their vision for your future. And a lot of them all were saying the same thing for me. Okay. So mine had to do a lot with this person, the guy, that's been this whole journey for me on TikTok.
Yeah.
Who I keep trying to move on from, but every time I get these visions, it comes up and I see this life we have in the future. And it's just been annoying because, I both know like that's going to happen, but it like was not for a long time. It was not happening. Right. And I'm just like, and I would try to break up with dude all the time. And he just wouldn't leave me alone about it and be like, no, like you're my person. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So, okay. So we have to nail down what we want our vision for the future to be and stick with it this weekend. And so I was like, fuck it. Fine. And I talked to Jose Luis and there was all this confusion around it. And he was like, well, what do you want? I was like, that's what I want. And he was like, then pour everything into it. Right. And I was like,
yeah, yes.
So we do despacho, which you
gave me like kind of the same advice the other day,
and that's probably why.
A different way of saying it. I was like, you know what? Oh yeah,
Yeah, and so in the Peruvian way, you do despacho, which is offering, and it's like you build this thing in paper and you wrap it up and it's really pretty, and then you throw it in the fire and you do ceremony around the fire. Like you put all your prayers into it, basically,
Okay.
as a group of people, in these things called quintos. So you take 3 bay leaves or cocoa leaves if you're down in Peru, and you
Yeah.
say all your prayers and like thank you so much, Spirit, for giving me the love of my life and the lake house we're gonna live on, and then
Yeah. Whatever the
you
taste
blow
is.
the
Yeah.
energy into it and you say it over and over and over, and then you give them to the person leading the ceremony in the center, and they pray over that too, and then they put it into this beautiful despacho and like whatever. So everyone's prayers are all in there, in the kinsus, and then there's different layers symbolizing different things, and then you wrap it all up. Then you go to fire, you open sacred space, you do ceremony. I mean, it's a long thing, a lot of prayer, singing, ceremony. And when they put the despacho in the fire, everyone, you're in a circle, everyone has to turn around. And Jose Luis, is singing in Quechua and rattling, and it's trippy. And we're all singing, and we all have to turn around when they put the shit in, because you can't watch the despacho burn, or you'll get, if you watching it burn, means you're too attached to your manifestation.
To the outcome.
Mhm.
Yeah. To the outcome. That's a lesson
So
in itself.
you always turn around and not watch it burn and just
Yeah.
trust that the
Don't be
universe is going to
attached to the
provide.
outcome. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
So this particular time, it was like 5 minutes, and he goes, well, you can all turn around because it already
Yeah.
burned up. And we're like, and he goes, I've never seen one do that. This was a really strong, I think all of you
That's
really put a lot of prayer into this, and your manifestations are coming fast. So hold up, buckle
Yeah.
up. And I was like, oh, okay. And then since I went home, my life has just been garbage, but in the best way. Like, spirits like, you're gonna fucking get there. We're gonna drag you
Yeah.
kicking and screaming, and if you don't want to do it, we're gonna make you miserable. Until you have to,
Okay.
because we all gotta, to get the things we want, there's shit we gotta do.
That's correct. That's correct.
And
That's why it's not good focusing on like a timeline. I've learned that.
well, or you could, if you want it.
While I'm saying that, okay, so let me rephrase that. Like, I guess I'm saying trusting the universe. Like, not saying
Yeah.
like it's got to be tomorrow. It's okay if it's the next day or the next day after that, right? But
Yes.
it'll happen. It's just,
Well, and that's
Yeah,
why that's what I do more with my clients now. I'm like, okay, what I've been, since that last retreat, he taught us to use tracking divination differently. Like, I'm not just, I mean, tarot readings are great, but I'm not just some fucking tarot reader. I know what the
I
shaman
know it's
do.
way more than that.
Well, no, but I mean, just mean like what I've specifically been trained to do now since this retreat in September is like what the shaman in Peru do. So it's, what do you fucking want? Okay. So here, I'm going to read the energy and see the probability of that. And maybe it's only 2%, but I can tell you how to make that 2% become 100%.
Yeah.
You might not like what you have to fucking do.
And if you really want it, then go fucking do this, right?
So that's where I'm at.
No, that makes total sense.
So I was in this whole dark soul, yada yada yada, and then like I had that TikTok that blew up where I like went off on him and was like,
was that the one that
when he said I woke up a bitch? Yeah, it was like 1.2 million or something.
I feel like I remember that.
So he was, I just said, I'm done. I don't want, it felt too casual. And I was like, I have to let myself enough. I'm done. Like, and he was in a mood that day. So he was like, it sounds like you woke up a bitch. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. I'm done. And then and he just said, fuck, LOL. And then everyone. So anyway, okay.
How does he feel when he sees 1.2 million views because I would be like, yo, you talking about me, motherfucker?
So this is a funny thing.
1.2 million people watch this. Can we keep this private?
He's not on TikTok and he's not on Insta. He's only on Snap, which I deleted, and Facebook, which I don't post anything on. And so, but he knows that I started the TikTok about him over a year. He knows it's been all about him.
Doesn't know how the extent of it.
No, he does. He does.
I mean, 42,000 followers is a lot of followers.
When I
beg and call for followers.
When we were in our first separation, that was like 8 weeks long. So this is back in January of 2021. My TikTok accidentally blew up. And like before we got in the fight, I think he knew I had gotten tarot cards, and I post on my Snap story, but he doesn't believe in any of this shit. So he just
so to him it's like, all right, this bitch is crazy, right? Like whatever.
He's so Capricorn that he doesn't talk about shit he doesn't care about, so he just doesn't. And or he just rolls his eyes and like is like that's how he is.
Okay, whatever.
And so I don't talk about it with him, but so that was all okay. So that happened, and then I don't know what happened. He popped up. We got in another fight. It was 2 8-week separations, and then when he comes back, I think it was in spring, early spring of 2021. I had to tell him. I was like, so I blew up on TikTok, and now I'm doing tarot readings. And he was like, what the fuck? And I told him the numbers, and I think it was like 15,000 followers, and he was so
Yeah.
mad. I remember it was Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
He was like, you've lost your fucking mind. You started a fucking cult, and you're conning people out of their money, all because you. And he was like, this whole fucking.
I don't blame him. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be
was
like,
like-
what the fuck are you doing?
all I've ever wanted to do was be with you, and you act like a crazy fucking bitch, and then you won't talk to me, and you blacken me, and instead of just talking to me, you start a whole fucking TikTok telling people not to text people.
A whole brand, the whole catchphrase.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you should patent that, by the way.
I know.
You should get a copyright. I'm serious.
I
I'm ordering the
know.
sweatshirt tomorrow.
I have sweatshirts, but okay.
No, you have
I
some
know.
merchandise.
So I'm actually gonna do some new merch. But yeah. Anyway,
Right.
so he got in my head, and I was like, fuck, is he right? Because this is also an old message that my family always told me about, like, me manipulating people. So it was time for me to look at that, and I actually took down my whole website and closed my books the weekend of Memorial Day 2021 when I was busy. I was making so much money back then. I had to think about it, and by the end of the weekend I was like, no, I am right, and I was like, I don't care if we ever talk again, but I'm going to do this. And so I started dating someone else, and he was like, well, we had to agree to just never talk about spirituality again to be able to stay cool.
Fair enough.
So over time, now I don't give a fuck. So, like, there's sometimes when things blow up, I tell him, he doesn't fucking care. There's been a couple times, if I make something with our screenshots, I'll send it to him. There was like one time that had I cover up his name. It's nobody could ever know who he is.
Yeah, sure. I've seen those. You don't want to do that's inappropriate to do anyway.
He runs a crew of guys in construction, right? He's a project manager for steam fitting.
Sure.
And so, those guys already want a reason to fucking hate him. And so if they knew about it would be, so he's like, please.
Construction's a rough, trust me, I work construction. It's a rough place for someone to know your private business.
And he's a tough boss. So those guys are always looking for something.
They're looking for a reason. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a thing. So he's really private with them. So I know, but there was one time that even like in a text thread, his like memoji was there, and he goes, you can't. I think he's also got his ex-girlfriend who I didn't think knew about me, knows about me. And then she looks, and then she said, so there's always somebody. So we kind of have like a
lot of drama.
But that particular video, I haven't told him it happened yet. I think I was at his house the other day, and I thought I should show him, and I was like,
nah, don't do it. Something my father always says, some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah.
You know, all right, or like less is more. You know, just leave it be.
I think on some level he doesn't say it, but it is kind of like a stroke to his ego. So I mean, there's that, but then also
it could be an ego stroker for sure. Yeah,
he usually just calls me a weirdo and walks in the other room, like so
you kind of are, but like in the best, most awesome ways, if you ask me. You know.
So this was my whole epiphany on Saturday, is that everything's so spiritual, and I've had a lot of long walks with sobriety where I really had to look at it, and I have an imprint of addiction and alcoholism in my family, but I know for me, I can drink. I'm okay. I'm okay with being a moderate drinker, and like
sure, same.
I'm okay. Like sometimes I can't really. I have some problems where binge drinking gets away from me for the night. So like I'm
yeah. I mean, that's pretty standard.
I have limits. Yeah.
Yeah, there's limits.
But I know that I can dabble, right? So Saturday, Danny was in town. No Can Do Scooter. So she changed her name to maybe Next Time Girl, right? It was my best friend. And so we went out to lunch for Mexican lunch. And we had 2 margaritas, and then we're like, well, let's go to the fucking bar. Why not? We got nothing else to do today.
I mean, that's what fucking that's why Saturday afternoon drink is the fucking best.
Yeah, I didn't have my son, so we go. Okay, so in Green Bay on Sunday, the Cowboys were in town playing.
Yeah, the Packers. Yeah.
And I said, we're gonna see a lot of. She's from Texas. I go, there'll be a lot of people from Texas in town.
That's cool.
Because we were on a 5-game losing streak, and. Yeah. Like when I was little, Packers lost all the time, so we were used to it. But most of these people now are not used to it. So they were all
the last 30 years they've been
I know.
they've been in playoffs every year almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in the Facebook group, people were just like giving away tickets and laughing at anyone that was asking for real money. So I was like, this is going to be a nice opportunity for Cowboys fans to actually get tickets at Lambeau because you can't get them. You know, it's
You
all
guys go?
season tickets holder. So no, so but I
Oh,
just was saying a lot of people were going to be in town.
sure.
So she's like, well, why don't we go down to there's sports bars right by
Right
Lambeau.
outside of it. Yeah. Okay.
And so we were like, why don't we go down there? So we went to one of them. And we walk in at 1:00, it's fucking packed. And we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
a hell
all Cowboys fans. And so
yeah.
like we couldn't even get a seat. So,
There's Cowboys fans everywhere though. They travel so well. They're all over the place.
well, especially
And so they're the most hated people to me on the planet.
well, but I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you know this, but Lambeau, you know, there's a 30-year wait for season tickets. You can't buy tickets.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to,
Same with, yeah.
okay, so you have to do resale.
You're on the waiting list.
Yeah. But so I just knew there was going to be a lot of people because all of the locals were going to be selling theirs because we've been losing, so they don't want to go watch, you know. Okay, so it's there, and so we're drinking, and I think by this point it's like 3:00, and I took a picture of us, and I was like, because my person, again, it was bow hunting season. I knew his dad was there. He was hunting. It was like whatever. And I was just leaving him alone because that's what I do. He likes his space when he's doing what he's doing. And I'm the don't fucking text him person, right? And then I go, I wish I could just send him this picture because he probably wouldn't know that I'm not usually out drinking. And she goes, just send the picture.
No, don't.
No, I did. It's okay. In my case, no,
I don't.
That's fine, but in my case I needed to because this is you have to remember I'm not in separation with him. I had just been at his house that week. We talk, we're you know, we're not sleeping with anyone else. It's this, you know, it's not like a big deal, but we're doing this right now. And so there's really no reason for me to be like not, you know, so I send it. And then right away, he's like, well, and then he was out with 8 of his buddies. And he was like, well, he's like, let me tell you, we're about to leave. Let me tell you, we're going next and whatever. Long story short, we ended up meeting up with him and Danny got to meet him. And then he was like, it was like 5 o'clock.
That was pretty fucking good.
It was like 5 o'clock and he was already done for the night. Cause he had been out all day and he was like, and he was like, just stay here. I want to go to bed soon. And I was like, I can't, she's in town. She want to go back out. We had met a whole table of guys that were paying for all of our stuff and they were pretty fun. And I was like,
yeah.
And he was like, well, I'll just leave the door unlocked, come back and whenever I'm going to bed. And I was like, yeah, okay. So, so I did, I went back to the bar and he was like, doors unlocked. I'll be in bed. Just come in. And so, by 7:30, I was fucking toast. And I was just
one in the afternoon.
Yeah, but she was bouncing around. She was talking to everyone in the fucking bar, and it was like they were all talking about going to a strip club, and I was just like, So I left, and I just went over there and went to bed. And then we woke up. I heard him wake up at 10 because he had been asleep since 5, and go turn on the TV. So then I got up, and my phone was ringing because she got stranded somewhere, whatever. It was a long story, but anyway, we went back to sleep, and then it was a really nice normal night, like I wouldn't have had. And I'm like, this is the thing. I get so spiritual, but like you have to journey, you have to figure out what your path is, you have to do and say prayer and every day and do a spot show. Like sometimes you just need to get fucking drunk and hang out with a person.
You actually got drunk and just sent the text and it worked out that way.
And we binge watched 48 hours and it was nice.
You binge for 48 hours?
No, the show 48 hours. No, you know what I mean?
Gotcha, bitch. Yeah, I know. That's awesome. Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. Maybe you should say sometimes maybe text them.
I think my core demographic needs to hear don't fucking text them, but I don't need to do that all the time.
You don't need it. Correct.
Once you get to a healed enough place, and I don't like using that word, I shouldn't say that, sounds egotistical, but you get to an aligned enough place and you're like, you got to live your life too. The spiritual shit is good and you got to do the work and look at your shit, but then some days go get day drunk and just enjoy life with your best friend and a guy you love.
Totally agree. I think it's it's like the relevance of the text. So like, how much is it going to affect you if this text doesn't work out the way you planned it to, right? If the person doesn't answer, or if it's the answer you don't want. I think it's more of you coming to a point where you can separate, those emotions from it or the outcome from it, and just go, okay, however this works out, all right, whatever. I sent a text, no big deal. I think that's what you're actually saying with the don't fucking text them. At least that's how I've gotten to the point that I've gotten to.
And at this point, I'm secure enough that I know I knew what he was doing because we had talked about what he was. So I knew he was either hunting with his dad or he was out drinking with his friends. Like I knew.
Yeah, you don't think he's out like yeah, he's not looking for pussy somewhere. Yeah, yeah.
But and so like either way, and I know he always answers me right away unless he's working and busy. So like you know, I knew he was gonna answer, and it didn't mean I had to see him. I didn't think I was gonna see him, but like what a nice surprise. You know what I mean? So it's
Sure,
just like,
absolutely. And worked out as bad. If you didn't send the text, you probably don't see him, right? So
but 2
it
years
makes
ago, I would have been the whole day at the bar, like, how do I post something on my Snap
that's
story so he
that's
knows where I am, and then blah, blah, blah. And it would have been a whole
I was in
fucking
that.
thing.
Correct. I was in that state of mind too, and that's what I think it's all about. Is like not being in that state of mind.
No.
It's like post what you want to post, do what the fuck you want to do, and the results text when you want it, and then it is what it is. Like do what you want to fucking do, you know. But I think for maybe the people, your demographic, the people watching you, like they do need that at the time. Like just
Don't
don't do it right now until you know you're fucking ready to do it. Right?
Or if you ever see in the comments, whenever somebody's like, I texted them, I'm always like, how'd that work out?
I
for
do
you?
see that's usually the thing is, oh, I fucked up. I texted them. I probably commented that before.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've commented once like a long time ago when I first found you. I was like, oh, I wish I saw this yesterday. You
Yeah.
know?
I know. Whenever somebody
I'm
says
like
they
such a bitch right now.
No, people say that. Whenever I see that though, I'm always just like, how'd that work out for you? And they're like terrible. So I'm like, you know, I learned.
Right.
And I did silly shit with him. I was a fucking weirdo in the beginning with all that shit. So I'm the first one to say, and I was so annoying. But you know, I think back, and it's like that's why sometimes you learn by doing it wrong. A lot of times we learn.
Yeah. My dad always says that the only real way to learn something is the hard way. Sometimes.
I know.
He'll fuck it up first, and then you know.
I know. Oh my god! Well, we've been talking like over an hour, Pat.
Yeah, it's been an
I
hour,
love
15 minutes. I love you too. Kick me out of here.
I'm gonna bet after you go trip balls in the Amazon. You need to come back and tell us.
Or if I want to come up, okay, that's right. We kind of didn't do anything that I thought we would, but that's okay. I had a fucking blast. So
it's just shooting the shit. I told you this.
It's shooting the shit. It was awesome. But if you want to do another one before, even if it's like a half hour, like I don't know, whatever listeners you have, if people do want to hear about like my Ibogaine experience, which is a wild that's a wild experience. Not a lot of people have experienced it, and then I could talk about like my upcoming ayahuasca journey. I think that'd be fun as well. So
I'm not that great of an interviewer about people's actual experience.
No, that's okay. No, we were just bullshit. No,
that's all this podcast is.
This isn't an interview podcast. Yeah, you didn't have a fucking script, and you're like, so tell me about this. You know,
it's just conversations.
Yeah, no, I had a fucking blast. Most fun I had in a while. So
good. I love you. Well, keep me posted.
You too, pal. All right, sounds good. How do I get out of this fucking thing?